In this video, I'm going to show you guys my Ford E-350 Super Duty passenger van. In my last video, I showed you guys that it was gutted, and I also explained to you what I was going to do to it. In this video, I'm going to show you what I did to it. This isn't a tutorial. This isn't going to show you how to do any of these things. This maybe just will inspire you to have some ideas. And overall, I hope that this shows you that it was so enjoyable. I didn't expect to find it as what you would call a labor of love, and definitely turned into it. So I want you guys to take that away from this video. The amount of fun that I had, the amount of enjoyment that I got out of the process was incredible. So needless to say, the interior was in really great shape when I got this van. It was in such good shape that it was very hard to tear out and dispose of. There's not a huge market for people needing van interior, so I was able to salvage a lot of it and give it away. Luckily, I had a van down the road that needed some donations, and I was able to do that, so that felt good that I wasn't wasting a lot of material. You know, at least plan on involving people with it. Make them part of the process so it's memorable and it's meaningful, and it's not just for you, it'll be for them too. Whether it's kids, family, or friends, whoever it may be, get people involved. It also helps, of course, to have a helping hand. If maybe you aren't like me and have a construction background, or you're not as crafty as maybe some other people are, it will also help you to get some ideas. So for me, it was really just the bonding moment, and then I was able to hopefully anything from reading a tape to cutting a piece of wood, pass some of that down to my kids. Pulling out the headliner, which was very difficult considering it was the nicest headliner I've ever had in a vehicle. That was really hard to dispose of, but I knew that in the end it would come out okay. It looked so nice inside of my van, and now it looks terrible. But you know what? I didn't need this. This thing is monstrous. Time to pull the carpet out.
Okay.
Let's do it. Should be able to just pull it out. Smells like feet. That would make sense. It's on the floor. So pulling out the carpet wasn't fun. That was probably the least enjoyable, considering that it smelled like kids' feet in a locker room. We got rid of that, and then I was left with an empty shell. Going and buying material, I did get lucky. It was right before materials started spiking in 2020, 2021. And I didn't have to spend an arm and a leg on basic stuff. There's tons of videos out there on what to use and materials and what to not use, like the pink insulation I wouldn't recommend, but there are some places where it's very useful and you can seal it off so it's not dangerous. But materials alone are gonna be a personal choice, and it's an endless game you can play there, deciding what to use. But for me, I got really motivated and just wanted to get it done. So starting, really, what you're going to start with is sitting inside your van, or whatever your project is, or outside of it, staring at it, wondering what you're going to do, what it's going to be like. So what helped me a lot to get the ball rolling was just taking a simple piece of paper and a pencil and drawing out a few ideas of things that I liked and how I'd want them to be arranged. And then I was able to then get a good estimate of if this shelf needed one piece of plywood, or if this one needed two 2x4s or 1x2s or whatever I was using. It was easier for me to shop for the material and then start piecing things together. It almost kind of created itself based off of a loose concept that I had. Taking measurements was a big thing. Getting the framing started was really difficult because this is not, there's no square walls, there's no flat ground, there's nothing in this is square whatsoever. Even if you think it is, it's not. So getting the framing started so you have something to attach to is painstaking, but it's really worth taking the time not to get too crazy. I've seen people do it so many ways, so find your way. Mine was simple. It was just build some framing to attach things to so that I had a nice solid structure, I had some insulation, and we can move on. It's super fun to start buying stuff and having it delivered, because then it really just starts feeling real, that you're actually building something that maybe you've done a lot of research. Of course, if you're watching this, you've probably already researched a lot. This isn't your first van video or your first build video. You're getting a lot of ideas, and that's part of the process. That's part of the fun, asking people online questions, or friends and family. Going from one concept of like, I have no idea what this is going to be, I have a general idea, to like conception, it was complete freedom. Sure, it seems like a small space inside of a van, but there's still a lot more of a project than you lead on to believe at the beginning. Days upon days of sitting and thinking, contemplating, drawing, and conceptualizing. Once the paneling, the floor, and some of the wall framing went up, that's when things started rocking and rolling, because now I have something to build off of, something to measure off of, and a concept has come together. So it really started taking off. One of the reasons why I didn't film much of the process is because the process itself was so much fun that I didn't want to interrupt it, and it just was more important to me and to enjoy than it was to capture all of it. It was a little bit hard to take a perfectly good van that had a perfectly good ceiling and no leaks and no problems and start drilling holes into the roof. But again, you have to have that level of faith, and that's part of it, is just letting go of, you know, your rules and start building things the way you want to. So what do you do when you buy a van that's new to you? Well, you drill holes in the ceiling. Perfect. One more to go. So one of the things I'll also say, again, as a tip, if you're building this van, I would leave the rear AC and the rear heater in, personally. I do miss it. I took it out because I wanted the space. If you take it out, you do have to take it to a professional who can empty your AC system and block it off professionally so there's no leaks. Once everything was built, I was able to start having more confidence and start getting into suspension. And I won't go into far details there, but beefing up suspension, getting better wheels so that I can go off-road. This is not a four-wheel drive van, so I wanted to make sure it was still capable if I wanted to air down. So I did get oversized wheels and tires. I'll give you guys the dimensions here in a second. Hopefully you're approved, Bubba. Nice new shoe. This is sick. Look at that offset. That's beautiful. Fuck yeah. That's beautiful. What do you think, Bubba?
I guess a lot better smaller.
The tires are amazing. I really love these open range tires, mud and snow tires. I can air down. Typically the van goes between 60 and 80 pounds of pressure for normal operation. I wanted to be able to get down to 20, 25 pounds, and I will say that having these tires and wheels, because the wheels are lighter and the tires can air down more, they are amazing. It almost feels four-wheel drive because of not just how smooth it is up a rocky road or even, you know, small bumps, but it is it operates and handles so well even in water or mud. Upgrading the ball joints was important. I didn't just go with OEM, I did upgrade them, so it's a little more expensive, but it was really worth it because I can have some confidence in there. Some Moog springs. I do believe these springs come from the diesel engine E-350, or I'm sorry, E-450s. That's what these springs are from, and because they usually hold a heavier engine, it actually lifts my van a couple of inches because I only have the V8 non-diesel, so it did give me a couple inches of clearance. I spent some time in junkyards. Where I live here in the Central Valley of California, there was really no luck finding things used for vans other than service vans. What I did find, though, was the brackets off of a ladder system, and I was able to take a few of those. Not only did I purchase them at the junkyard, but I sent them to a friend who does a lot of my fabrication work. You'll see some of that in a minute. And that's Taylor with Jacobson Steel out of Las Vegas. And he helped me build a lot of these metal parts that I needed to complete the ladder and the roof rack. And that was really cool. So once the bed started rocking and rolling, and I had a platform for it, I did all my measurements for headroom and for length. I built a huge drawer system that was 4 feet long and has 500-pound drawer sliders so I can stand on them. This thing would just hold a tremendous amount of weight. Structurally, it's very strong with minimal amount of wood and a lot of sanding because I wanted things to be not just structural, but I want them to be comfortable. And then getting into the decorating and into the finish work. Once I put, this is the first drawer that I put on. It was kind of premature to start it, but I just wanted to see it done. And that's when it was all over, game over. After about a month and getting everything ready and then starting this, that's when I realized it's time to start building shelves. It's time to start getting into drawers and systems and start thinking about, finish work. And that's when the project really shined for me, because I got to do whatever I wanted. I could use any material I wanted. I can, design it and fashion it any way I wanted. There was no limits there. So that was really, really cool. Of course, just the tip I added from a local auto store, just because a big, huge, massive van looked silly with a little tiny exhaust. So I put something bigger. I didn't know that those things actually do change the way they sound. Sounds a little nicer, actually. So here's some of the rough construction. Again, I'm not going to give you any tips on how to accomplish this. Take your time, ask for help, whatever you need to do. Even in the comments here, if you guys have any questions, feel free to do so. I try to answer all of them. But this part was, again, just completely fun and free, and I was able to do what I wanted. This is the first cabinet I finished. Again, I kind of got ahead of myself, but that was fine because I had so much fun. And then I started building the sink. The sink was very minimal. I wanted to keep it something super functional and something practical. So I used jerry cans, military style. Actually, they were used salvaged military water jerry cans, and put my shelf top on, built a sink out of a salad bowl. And then, I'll go over some of those details later, but the sink came out amazing, super happy with that. Not too complicated. The plumbing was a little tricky, but have fun with it. Build what you want, build it the way you want, and get crafty, get creative with it. Okay, now we got to test fit. Our new countertop we just cut. I made a template for it to see if it fit right, and so far as we could tell, it did. And there she is. Now we just got to install the sink. Well, first got to finish it and stain it, and then we'll install the sink and the pump and our drawer and cabinet faces, and then this, done. The reason I built boxes instead of all drawers everywhere, I built these wooden boxes because I wanted to be able to utilize them outside the van, whether I'm stacking them or bringing food from the outside to the inside, whatever it may be. I wanted to use these boxes, and they also come in really handy. Once I finished them, put handles and decorated them, they look pretty rad when they're outside in nature, full of bottles of whiskey, cigars, and food. They make for really good photo props, and also you can sit on them, so they're really comfortable. In this view, you can actually see the cubby hole under the bed platform where I eventually put a Jeep seat and made a bracket for it. I did utilize some of the anchor points for some of the previous hardware regarding the seats and the seat belts. So what I did there was I siliconed them all for waterproofing once I put the floor in, but because the silicone drips through the bottom a little, you can actually see where those holes are, and you can re-drill through them, whichever ones you may need to use. And mine ended up working perfectly. If you see the next video, they ended up perfectly for the brackets I custom made for the Jeep seat that I tucked under that platform there in the bed. So again, Taylor at Jacobson Steel over in Las Vegas, building my roof rack, all custom, all to my specifications. He did amazing. This thing was, this is like the crown jewel on top of large Marge here. So it was super exciting to see that come together. I'm really thankful. This guy does awesome work. He's a lot like me in terms of being creative, and he loves to make shit. So, we kind of took the concepts for the ladder offline on different images of what other people built, and we made it all out of steel, so it's incredibly strong. You're not going to break this stuff, and it just looks super cool. But adding a roof rack and a ladder, as well as some rooftop storage, it almost doubles the size of your van. It just makes it so much bigger and more practical that I would never skip that. So here's a roof rack and the fan and the rooftop storage involved. I took this picture in a drive-through because my goal was to stay under 9'6" so that I could still go to fast food joints if I wanted to. A lot of times they close early, but the drive-throughs were open. So traveling was really important to me to still be able to make that clearance. So I kept it. So I'm literally like 3 inches under my clearance. It's been a while. Actually, this has all been finished. Over time I've installed solar, I've installed a fridge, I put a Goal Zero battery system in, and a few small details, built some small racks, installed things for holding other gear that I wanted to bring with me on trips and along the way. The family and everybody involved, it was just so much fun that, again, if you are watching this and you're either in the middle of something looking for ideas or about to embark on a journey like this, enjoy it. Like really, really enjoy it. Take your time and really make it something not just memorable in the process, but make it something that's yours. I really do appreciate you guys watching this too. I look forward to hearing what you guys think about it. And if you have any questions, of course, send them to the comments here. Also, maybe some of this will help you, like some of the videos other people have made have helped me, conceptualizing some of the things I wanted to do and how to do them, what to do, what not to do, what to look out for. If there's anything I drive home, it's enjoy this process. Make it something that's yours from concept to reality, and just enjoy that process. So in the next video, you'll see the finished van. I thank you guys for watching. Leave a comment below if you like this video, of course do so, and I will see you guys next time.
If you get too close, it could be any time he strikes. See how he conserves his energy. His knife moves won't work on me. Nothing he can throw will distract my attention away from the viciousness, the deadliness of Sheldon.
All right.
Look at the way that he moves so carefully.
Heck yeah.
That's to not burn too many calories, so that he can conserve. He can conserve it for the kill. The kill will come. It might not be today, but it will be someday.
Stop it.